Sometimes I sit and wonder in my artless Japanese way why it is that I'm so much more attractive than anybody else in the whole world. Can this be vanity? No. Nature is lovely, and she rejoices in her loveliness. I'm a child of nature, and I take after my mother. The sun whose rays are all ablaze in ever-living glory does not deny his majesty, he scorns to tell a story. He won't exclaim, I blush for shame, so kindly indulgent, but fierce and bold in fiery gold, he glories all effulgent. I mean to rule the earth as he the sky. We really know both the sun and night. I mean to rule the earth as he the sky. We really know worth the sun and night. Observe his flame, that placid deep, the moon's celestial highness. There's not a trace upon her face of diffidence or shyness. She moves lighted through the night, mankind will acclaim her. And in truth to tell, she lights up well, so I for one don't blame her. Ah, pray make no mistake, we are not shy. We're very wide awake, the moon and night. Ah, pray make no mistake, we are not shy. We're very wide awake, the moon and night. Everything seems to smile upon me. I'm to be married today to the man I love best, and I think I'm the very happiest girl in Japan.
The happiest girl indeed, for she is indeed to be envied, who has attained happiness in all but perfection.
All but perfection.
Well, dear, it can't be denied that the fact that your husband is to be beheaded in a month is, in its way, a drawback. It does seem to take the top off it, you know.
I don't know about that. It all depends.
At all events, he will find it a drawback.
Not necessarily. Bless you, it all depends.
I think it very indelicate of you to speak of such a thing on such a day. If my married happiness is to be cut short, well, cut short, can't you let me forget it?
Oh, Yum Yum in tears, and on her wedding morn.
They've been reminding me that in a month you're to be beheaded.
Yes, we've been reminding her that you're to be beheaded.
It's quite true, you know. You are to be beheaded.
Now, some bridegrooms would find this sort of thing depressing. A month. What's a month? These divisions of time, they're purely arbitrary. Who says 24 hours make a day?
There's a popular impression to that effect.
Then we'll face it. We'll call every second a minute, every minute an hour, every hour a day, and every day a year. At that rate, we've about 30 years of married happiness before us.
And at that rate, this interview has already lasted 4 hours and 3/4. How time flies when one's thoroughly enjoying oneself.
That's the way to look at it. Don't let's be downhearted. There's a silver lining for every cloud.
Certainly. Let's be perfectly happy.
By all means, let's thoroughly enjoy ourselves.
It's absurd to cry.
Quite ridiculous. Brightly dawns our wedding day.
Joyous are we, give thee greeting. Whither, hearts now fleeting. Fickle moment, really stay. Fickle moment, really stay. What though mortal joys be hollow?
Pleasures come if sorrows follow.
The ducks and Sunday long. The ducks and Sunday long. Ding dong. Ding dong. Yet until the shadows fall over one and over all.
Sing a merry madrigal.
Sing a merry madrigal. Sing a merry madrigal. Fa la 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 la
Let's drive already tea.
Though the hours are surely creeping, little woeful weeping, till the sad sundown is near, till the sad sundown is near. All must sip the cup of sorrow.
I today and thou tomorrow.
This the close of every song. This the close of every song. This the close of every song. Ding dong. Ding dong. What the solemn shadows fall, sooner or later over all.
Sing a merry madrigal.
Sing a merry madrigal. Sing a merry madrigal. Fa la 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 la
Go on, don't mind me.
I'm afraid we're distressing you.
Oh no, I must get used to it. Only do it by degrees. Begin by putting your arm around her waist. There. Let me get used to that first.
Oh, wouldn't you like to retire? It must pain you to see us so affectionate together.
No, I must learn to bear it. Now oblige me by allowing her head to rest upon your shoulder.
Like that?
Ah, yes, thank you. I'm very much obliged. Whew. Now, kiss her.
Oh,
Thank you. It's simple torture.
Oh, come, bear up. After all, it's only for a month.
No, there's no use in deluding oneself with false hopes.
Oh, what do you mean?
Oh, my poor girl. Oh, how do I break this to her? Ha, my little bride that was to have been.
Was to have been.
Yes, you never can be mine.
Oh, I'm so glad!
Yes, I've just ascertained that by the Mikado's law, when a married man is beheaded, his wife is buried alive.
Buried alive?
Buried alive. It's a most unpleasant death.
But whom did you get this from?
Oh, from Pooh-Bah. He's my solicitor.
But he may be mistaken.
So I thought. So I consulted the Attorney General, the Lord Chief Justice, the Lord High Admiral, the Master of the Scrolls, the Judge Ordinary, and the Chief of Police. They're all of the same opinion. I've never seen such unanimity in a point of law in my life.
Oh, but wait a bit. This law has never been put into force.
Oh, not yet. We all know that flirting is the only crime punishable by decapitation, and married men never flirt.
Oh, of course they don't. I quite forgot about that. Well, I suppose I may take it that my dream of happiness is at an end.
Darling, I don't want to appear selfish, and I love you with all my heart. I don't suppose I'll love anybody else half as much. But when I agreed to marry you, my own, I had no idea, Pet, that I would have to be buried alive in a month.
Oh, no, it's the very first I've heard of
Well,
it.
it makes a difference, doesn't it?
Oh, it does make a difference, of course.
You see, burial alive, it's such a stuffy death.
Oh, I call it a beast of a death.
Oh, you see my difficulty, don't you?
Yes, and I see my own. If I insist upon you carrying out your promises, I doom you to a hideous death. And if I release you, you marry Coco at once.
Here's a howdy-do, here's a merry-do. When your time has come to perish, then the maiden whom you cherish must be slaughtered too. Here's a howdy-do, here's a howdy-do.
Here's a pretty mess, in a month or less. I must die without a wedding, let the bitter tears I'm shedding witness my distress. Here's a pretty mess, here's a pretty mess.
Here's the state of things. To her life she clings. Matrimonial devotion doesn't seem to suit her notion. Burial it brings. Here's the state of things. Here's the state of things. With a passion that's intense we worship and adore, but the laws of common sense we oughtn't to ignore.
If what he says is true, 'tis death to marry you.
Here's a pretty state of things. Here's a pretty howdy-do. Here's a pretty state of things. A pretty state of things.
Here's a howdy-do.
Here's a howdy-do.
Here's a howdy-do.
For if what he says is true, I cannot marry you.
Here's a pretty state of things. Here's a pretty howdy-do. My poor boy, I'm really very sorry for you.
Oh, thanks, old fellow. I'm sure you are.
You see, I'm quite helpless.
Oh, I quite see that.
I can't think of anything more distressing than having one's marriage broken off at the last moment. But you shan't be disappointed of a wedding. You shall come to mine.
Oh, awfully kind of you, but that's impossible.
Why so?
Today, I die.
What do you mean?
I cannot live without Yum Yum. This afternoon, I perform the Happy Dispatch.
No. Pardon me, I can't allow that.
Why not?
Why? Hang it all. You're under contract to die at the hands of the public executioner in a month's time. If you commit suicide, what's to become of me? Why, I shall have to be executed in your place.
Oh, it certainly seems so.
Now then, Lord Mayor, what is it?
The Mikado and his suite are approaching the city and will be here in 10 minutes.
Oh, the Mikado's coming to see whether I've obeyed his decree. Oh, now look here, you, this is getting serious. A bargain's a bargain. You really mustn't frustrate the ends of justice by committing suicide as a man of honor and a gentleman. You are bound to die ignominiously at the hands of the public executioner.
Very well then, behead me.
What, now?
Certainly, at once.
Chop it off, chop it off.
My good sir, I don't go about prepared to execute a gentleman at a moment's notice. Why, I've never even killed a fly.
Still as Lord High Executioner.
As Lord High Executioner, I've got to behead him in a month's time. I'm not ready yet. I don't know how it's done. I mean to take lessons. I want to start with a guinea pig and work my way through the animal kingdom until I come to a second trombone. Why, you don't suppose that as a man of honor, I'd have accepted the post of Lord High Executioner if I hadn't thought the duties purely nominal? I can't kill you. I can't kill anything. I can't kill anybody.
Oh, come, poor fellow. We all have difficult duties to discharge from time to time. And after all, what is it? If I don't mind, why should you? And remember, sooner or later, it must be done.
Must it? I'm not so sure about that.
What do you mean?
Why should I execute you when making an affidavit that you've been beheaded will do just as well? Well, there are plenty of witnesses. There's the Lord High Admiral, the Lord Chief Justice, the Chief Commissioner of Police, the first person that voted in the Asheville City Beer Contest.
But where are they?
There they are, and they'll all swear to it, won't you?
Am I to understand that all us great officers of state are to perjure ourselves to ensure your safety?
Why not? You'll be grossly insulted as usual.
Will the insult be cash down or at a date?
It'll be a ready money transaction.
This could be a useful discipline. Very well. Choose your fiction and I'll endorse that. How do you like that, my family buck?
But life without yum-yum.
Oh, yum, 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 yum. Bother, yum, yum, yuck. Commissioner, go and fetch Yum Yum. Take Yum Yum and marry Yum Yum, only go away and never come back again. Ah, here she is. Yum Yum, are you particularly busy?
Not particularly.
You've 5 minutes to spare?
Yes.
Very good. Then go with His Grace, the Archbishop of Pitti-Poo, and he'll marry you at once.
But if I'm to be beheaded...
Oh, now don't ask any questions, but do as I say. Nanki-Poo will explain all.
Oh, but one moment.
Not the world. The Mikado is on his way to see if I've obeyed his decree. If he finds you alive, I shall have the greatest difficulty in persuading him I've beheaded you. Close steam, and here he comes.
To his
In a fatherly kind of way I govern each tribe and sect, all cheerfully own my sway.
Except his daughter-in-law elect, who's tough as a bone with a will of her own, is his daughter-in-law elect.
My nature is love and light, my freedom from all defect
Is insignificant quite with those of his daughter-in-law elect. Bow to his daughter-in-law elect.
A more humane Mikado never did in Japan exist. To nobody's second I'm certainly reckoned a true philanthropist. It is my very humane endeavor to make to some extent each evil liver a running river of harmless merriment. My object all sublime I shall achieve in time, to let the punishment fit the crime, the punishment fit the crime, and make each prisoner pant, unwillingly represent a source of innocent merriment, of innocent merriment. All prosy, all society sinners who chatter and bleat and bore are sent to hear sermons from mystical Germans who preach from 10 till 4. The amateur tenor whose vocal villainies all desire to shirk shall run super titles for all their recitals until they become berserk.
The lady who dyes a chemical yellow or stains her grey abuse, or pinches her figure, is painted with vigor, with the permanent walnut juice.
The idiot who in railway carriages scribbles on window panes will only suffer to ride on a buffer in a rickety track trains. My object all sublime I shall achieve in time, to let the punishment fit the crime, the punishment fit the crime, and make each prisoner pant, unwillingly represent a source of innocent merriment, of innocent merriment.
His object all sublime he will achieve in time, to let the punishment fit the crime, the punishment fit the crime, and make each prisoner pant, unwillingly represent a source of innocent merriment, of innocent merriment.
The advertising quack who wearies with tales of countless cures, his teeth I've enacted shall all be extracted by terrified amateurs. The lizard lounge singer attends a series of lecture recitals and such, by starkies and wisers and similar advisers until he has had too much. The billiard sharp whom anyone catches his doom's extremely hard, for he's made to dwell in a dungeon cell on a spot that's always barred, and there he plays extravagant matches in pitiless finger stalls on a cloth untrue with a twisted cue and elliptical billiard balls. My object all sublime I shall achieve in time, to let the punishment fit the crime, the punishment fit the crime, and make each prisoner pant, unwillingly represent a source of innocent merriment, of innocent merriment.
His object all sublime he will achieve in time, to let the punishment fit the crime, the punishment fit the crime, and make each prisoner pant, unwillingly represent a source of innocent merriment, of innocent merriment.
welcoming your majesty. I guess the nature of your visit, your wishes have been attended to. The execution has taken place.
Oh, you've had an execution, have you?
Oh, yes. The coroner has just handed me his death certificate.
I'm the coroner.
This is the certificate of his death. At Pitti-Poo, in the presence of the Lord High Chancellor, the Lord Secretary of State for the Home Department, the town tweeter, the second groom for the third floor.
They were all there, your majesty. I counted them myself.
Oh, a very good house. I wish I had been in time for the performance.
It was a terrific scene. He was a man of gigantic strength. It really was remarkable.
Oh, describe it.
The criminal cried as he dropped him down in a state of wild alarm. With a frightful, frantic, fearful frown, I bared my big right arm and seized him by his little pigtail, and on his knees fell he. As he squirmed and struggled and gurgled and guggled, I drew my snicker-snee. My snicker-snee. Oh, never shall I forget the cry or the shriek that shrieked he, as I gnashed my teeth when from its sheath I drew my snicker-snee.
We know him where he cannot tell untrue or groundless tales. He always tries to utter lies, and every time he fails.
He shivered and shook as he gave the sign for the stroke he didn't deserve. When all of a sudden his eye met mine, and it seemed to brace his nerve, for he nodded his head and kissed his hand, and he whistled and added he, as the saber true cut cleanly through his cervical vertebrae. His vertebrae. When a man's afraid, a beautiful maid is a cheering sight to see, and it's oh, I'm glad that moment sad was soothed by sight of me.
The terrible tale you plan to sail with truth it quite agrees. Her taste exact for faultless act amounts to a disease.
Now, though you'd have said that head was dead for its own, and dead was he, it stood on its neck with a smile well bred, and bowed 3 times to me. It was none of your impudent offhand nods, but as humble as can be, for it clearly knew the deference due to a man of pedigree. Of pedigree. And it's how I found this deathly vows a touching sight to see. Though trunkless yet, it couldn't forget the deference due to me.
This haughty youth, he speaks the truth whenever he finds it pays. And in this case, it all took place exactly as he says. Exactly, 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 exactly as he says.
Oh, this is very interesting, and I should have liked to have seen it. But we've come about a totally different matter. A year ago, my son, the heir to the throne of Japan, bolted from our imperial court.
Indeed. Had he any reason to be dissatisfied with his position?
None whatever. On the contrary, I was going to marry him, yet he fled.
I am surprised that he would have fled from somebody so lovely.
That's not true.
No.
You hold that I am not beautiful because my face is plain. But you know nothing. You are still unenlightened. Learn, then, that it is not in the face alone that beauty is to be sought. My face
is unattractive.
It is.
But I have a left shoulder blade that is a miracle of loveliness. People come from miles to see it. My right breast has a fascination that few can resist.
Allow me.
It is on view Tuesdays and Fridays on presentation of visiting card. As for its circumference, it is the largest in the world.
And yet, he fled, and is masquerading in this town, disguised as a second trombone.
A second trombone?
Yes. Would it be troubling you too much to produce him? He goes by the name of...
Nanki-Poo.
Nanki-Poo.
It's very easy. Oh, that is, it's rather difficult. In point of fact, he's gone abroad.
Gone abroad? His address, then?
Swanna nowhere.
What is it?
See here. His name. Nanki-Poo. Beheaded this morning. Oh, where shall I find another? Where shall I find another?
Oh, dear. My poor fellow. Oh, this is very tiresome. My poor fellow, and your anxiety to carry out my wishes. You have beheaded the heir to the throne of Japan.
I beg to offer an unqualified apology.
I desire to be associated with that expression of regret.
We really hadn't the least notion.
Oh, of course you hadn't. How could you? Oh, come, my good fellow, don't distress yourself. Why, if a man of exalted rank chooses to disguise himself as a second trombone, he must take the consequences. There, don't fret. I've no doubt he thoroughly deserved all he got.
Oh, thank you. We are infinitely obliged to your majesty.
Much obliged, your majesty.
Very much obliged, your majesty.
Obliged? Oh, not a bit. Don't mention it. It was really no fault of yours. How could you tell?
Of course, we couldn't tell who the gentleman really was.
It wasn't written on his forehead, you know.
It might have been written on his pocket handkerchief. But then the Japanese don't use pocket handkerchiefs.
I forget the punishment for compassing the death of the heir apparent.
Punishment?
Yes. Oh, it's something lingering with boiling oil in it, I fancy. Oh, I think it has boiling oil in it. I'm not quite sure. Oh, I know it's something humorous, but lingering. With either boiling oil or melted lead. Oh,
if your majesty will accept our assurances, we had no idea.
Oh, of course.
I knew nothing about it.
I wasn't there.
Well, that's the pathetic part of it. Unfortunately, the fool of an act says, compassing the death of the heir apparent. There's not a word about a mistake.
No?
Or not knowing.
No?
Or having no notion.
No.
Or not being there.
No.
Oh, there should be a
Yes!
But there isn't. Oh, that's the slovenly act, the way in which these acts are always drawn, but don't worry, it'll be all right. I'll have it altered next session. Now, about your execution. Will after luncheon suit you? Can you wait until then?
Oh, yes, we can wait until then.
Oh, goody, then we'll make it after luncheon.
Oh, I don't want any lunch.
Oh, I'm really very sorry for you all. It's an unjust world, and virtue is triumphant only in theatrical performances. See how the fates their gifts allot. For A is happy, B is not, yet B is worthy, I dare say, of more prosperity than A. Is he more worthy?
I should say he's worth a great deal more than A.
Yet A is happy, oh so happy, laughing ha ha, chopping ha ha, nectar quaffing ha ha ha, ever joyous, ever gay, happy undeserving A, ever joyous, ever gay, happy undeserving A. If I were fortune, which I'm not, B should enjoy A's happy lot, and A should die in misery. That is assuming I am B. But should A perish, that should he, of course assuming I am B. B should be happy, oh so happy, laughing ha ha, chaffing ha ha, nectar quaffing ha ha ha, but condemned to die is he. Wretched meritorious he, but condemned to die is he. Wretched meritorious he.
Well, a nice mess you've gotten us into, with your nodding head and deference due to a man of pedigree.
Merely corroborative detail intended to give artistic verisimilitude to an otherwise bald and unconvincing narrative.
Corroborative detail indeed. Corroborative fiddlestick.
And you're just as bad as he is with your cock and bull story about catching his eye and whistling in air. But that's so like you. You must put in your oar.
And you and your big right arm.
Oh.
Yes, and your snicker sneeze.
Well, never mind that now. There's only one thing to be done. Nanki-Poo hasn't started yet. He must come to life again at once. Ah, Nanki-Poo! I've good news for you. You're reprieved.
Oh, but it's too late, for I am a dead man. And I'm off for my honeymoon.
Nonsense! A terrible thing has just happened. It seems that you're the son of the Mikado.
Oh, yes, but that happened some time ago.
Is this any time for airy persiflage? Your father is here, and with Katisha.
My father? And with Katisha?
Yes, he wants you particularly.
So does she.
Oh, but he's married now.
Oh, but my good girl, what has that got to do with anything?
Katisha claims me in marriage, but I can't marry her because I'm already married. Consequently, she will insist upon my execution. And if I'm executed, my wife must be buried alive.
You see our difficulty?
Yes, I don't know what's to be done.
There's one chance for you. If you could persuade Katisha to marry you, she would have no further claim on me. And in that case, I can come back to life. Without any fear of being put to death.
I, Mary. Katisha?
I really think it's the only course.
But my good girl, have you seen her? She's something appalling.
Oh, but that's only her face. She has a right breast that people come miles to see.
And I've heard it said that she has a right heel that is much admired by connoisseurs.
My good sir, I decline to pin my heart on any lady's right heel.
Oh, it comes to this then. While Katisha is single, I prefer to be a disembodied spirit. When she's married, existence will be as welcome as the flowers in spring. The flowers that bloom in the spring, tra-la, flowers of light sunshine, and we dance and we sing, tra-la, we welcome the home that they bring, tra-la, the summer of roses That's what we mean when we say that a thing is welcome as flowers that bloom in the spring. Tra-la-la-la, tra-la-la-la, the flowers that bloom in the spring.
Tra-la-la-la, tra-la-la-la,
The flowers that bloom in the spring, tra-la, have nothing to do with the case. I've got to take under my wing, tra-la, a most unattractive old thing, tra-la, with a caricature of a face, with a caricature of a face. And that's what I mean when I say or I sing. Oh, bother the flowers that bloom in the spring, tra-la-la-la-la, tra-la-la-la-la, oh, bother the flowers of spring. Tra-la-la-la-la, tra-la-la-la-la, tra-la-la-la-la.
Alone and yet alive. A sepulchre. My soul is still my body's prisoner. Remote the peace that death alone can give. My doom to wait. My punishment to live. Hearts do not break, they sting and ache, for old love's sake, but do not die. For with each breath they long for death, as witnesseth the living eye. The living eye. Oh, living eye, come tell me why, when hope is gone, dost thou stay on? Why linger here when all is drear? Oh, living eye, come tell me why, when hope is gone, dost thou stay on? May not a cheated maiden die? May not a cheated maiden die?
Katisha,
The miscreant who robbed me of my love! What vengeance pursues? They are heating the cauldron.
Katisha, behold a suppliant at your feet. Katisha, mercy.
Mercy? Had you mercy on him? See here, you! You have slain my love! Well, he did not love me, but he would have loved me in time. I am an acquired taste. Only the educated palate can appreciate me.
I was educating his palate when he left me. Well, now he is dead. And where shall I find another? It takes years to train a man to love me. Am I to go through the weary round again and at the same time implore mercy for you who robbed me of my prey? I mean my pupil. Just as his education was upon completion. Oh, where shall I find another?
Here.
What?
Katisha, for years I have loved you with a white-hot passion that is slowly but surely consuming my very vitals. Shrink not from me. If there is aught of woman's mercy in your heart, turn not away from your love-sick suppliant, whose every fiber thrills at your tiniest touch. True it is that under a poor mask of disgust, I have endeavored to conceal a passion whose inner fires are broiling in oil. I mean, broiling the soul within me. But the flames will not be smothered. They defy every attempt at extinction, and breaking forth all the more eagerly due to their long restraint, declare themselves in words which will not be weighed. Which cannot be schooled, which should not be too severely criticized. Katisha, I dare not hope for your love, but I will not live without it. Darling.
You whose hands still reek of the blood of my betrothed, dare to address words of passion to the woman so foully wronged.
I do. Accept my love, or I perish on the spot.
Go to! Who knows more than I that no one ever yet died of a broken heart?
You know not what you say. Listen. On a tree by a river, a little tomtit sang willow, tit, willow, tit, willow. And I said to him, Dicky bird, why do you sit singing willow, tit, willow, tit, willow? Is it weakness of intellect, birdie, I cried, or a rather tough worm in your little inside? With a shake of his poor little head, he replied, oh, willow, tit, willow, tit, willow. He slapped at his chest as he sat on that bough, singing willow, tit, willow, tit, willow. And a cold perspiration bespangled his brow. Oh, willow, tit, willow, tit, willow. And he sobbed and he sighed and a gurgle he gave. Then he plunged himself into the billowy wave. And an echo arose from the suicide's grave. Oh, willow, tit, willow, tit, willow. Now I feel just as sure as I'm sure that my name isn't willow, tit, willow, tit, willow. That was blighted affection that made him exclaim, oh, willow, tit, willow, tit, willow. And if you remain callous and obdurate, I shall perish as he did, and you will know why. Though I probably shall not exclaim as I die. Oh, willow, tit, willow, tit, willow.
Did he really die of love?
He really did.
All on account of a cruel little hen.
Yes.
Poor little chap.
It's an affecting tale, and quite true. I knew the bird intimately.
Did you? He must have been very fond fond of her.
Yes, his devotion was something extraordinary.
Poor little chap. And if I were to refuse you, would you go and do the same?
At once?
Oh, no, you mustn't. Anything but that. I'm such a silly little goose.
You are.
You wouldn't hate me because I'm just a teeny weeny little wee bit bloodthirsty, would you?
Katisha? Hate you? Why, is there not even beauty in bloodthirstiness?
My idea exactly! There's beauty in the bellow of the glass. There's grandeur in the growling of the gale. There is eloquent outpouring when the lion is a-roaring and a tiger is a-lashing of his tail.
Yes, I'd like to see a tiger from the Congo or the Niger, and especially when lashing up his tail.
Volcanoes have a splendor that is grim, and earthquakes only terrify the dulce. But to he who's scientific, there is nothing more terrific than the falling of a flight of thunderbolts.
Yes, in spite of all my meekness, if I have a little weakness, it's a passion for a flight of thunderbolts. If that is so, sing daddy down there, it's
evident, merry artist, so on.
Away we'll
go, and merrily, merry nor tardily, tarry till the day is done.
Away we'll go, and merrily, merry nor tardily, tarry till the day is done. Is there beauty in extreme old age? Do you fancy you're elderly enough? Information I'm requesting on a subject interesting. Is the maiden all the better when she's tough?
Throughout this wide dominion, it's the general opinion that she'll last a great deal longer when she's tough.
Are you old enough to marry, do you think? Won't you wait until you're 80 in the shade? There's a fascination frantic with the ruin that's romantic. Do you think you are sufficiently decayed?
To the matter that you mention, I have given some attention, and I think I am sufficiently decayed.
If that is so, sing daddy down there,
it's evident, merry our tastes are one. Away we'll go, and merrily, merry nor tardily, tarry till the day is done. If that is so, sing daddy down there, it's evident, merry our tastes are one. Away we'll go, and merrily, merry nor tardily, tarry till the day is done.
Sing daddy down there, we'll merrily, nor tardily, tarry till the day is done.
Now then, we've had a capital lunch and we're quite ready. Have all the painful preparations been made?
Your Majesty, all has been prepared.
Then produce the unfortunate gentleman and his well-meaning but misguided accomplices.
Mercy! Mercy for Coco! Mercy for Pitti-Sing! Mercy even for Pooh-Bah!
I beg your pardon, I don't think I quite caught that last remark.
Mercy even for Pooh-Bah.
Mercy! My husband that was to have been is dead, and I have just married this miserable object.
Oh, you've not been long about it.
Well, we were married before the registrar.
I am the registrar.
I see. My difficulty is, as you have slain the heir apparent.
The heir apparent is not slain.
My son, bless my heart.
And your daughter-in-law elected.
Traitor! You have deceived me!
Yes, you are entitled to a little explanation, but I believe he will deliver it better whole than in pieces.
It's like this, Your Majesty. It is true that I stated that I had killed Nanki-Poo.
Yes, with the most affecting particulars.
Merely corroborative detail intended to give artistic verisimilitude.
Will you refrain from putting in your oar? It's like this. When your majesty says, let a thing be done, it's as good as done. Practically, it is done, because your majesty's will is law. Your majesty says, let a gentleman be killed. A gentleman is told off to be killed. Consequently, he's as good as dead. Practically, he is dead. And if he is dead, why not say so?
I see. Oh, nothing could possibly be more satisfactory.
For he's good and ready, yum, yum. Your anger pray ready for overbeing Betty. I think you had better succumb.
Come.
And join on expressions of glee.
On this subject I pray you be dumb. Your thoughts, though are many, are not worth a penny. The word for your guidance is mum. You've a very good bargain in me.
On this subject we pray you be dumb. We think you had better succumb.
You're a penny who went for a penny who went for a penny. There are lots of good fish in the sea. There are lots of good fish in the sea. There's lots of good fish in the sea.
There's lots of good fish in the sea, in the sea, in the sea, in the sea, in the sea.
The threatened cloud has passed away.
Where shines the dawning day?
The night becomes too soon.
Years and years of afternoon.
Then let the throng of joy dance with laughing song and merry. Let the throng of joy dance with laughing song and merry. With laughing song and merry. With laughing song.